Hello and welcome to this Throne of Thunder Megaera guide. This boss fight consists of 3 snake heads that you have to fight. Our strategy was that we would only kill the green and red snake heads. Throughout the fight we never killed a blue snake head. And basically the 2 heads that are close to the platform, those are the only ones you can attack. The one in the back is in concealed fog, and they gain a special ability when they are in the concealed fog. What we did was we had 2 markers set up on each side of the platform, and we stacked on those markers, and then once a boss died, we moved over to the other marker. So there the first snakehead died, so I'm moving over to the far platform. Once you kill a boss, a snakehead, the boss will use an ability called Rampage, which is going on now. This Rampage ability goes on for 20 seconds and does about 50k damage per second to everybody, but it's increased 25% for each head of the element that is present. So we just killed green, so if there's a lot of green snakeheads present, then the damage is increased. It's a good idea to cycle through healing cooldowns when Rampage is going on, and you should be fine, especially if your group is all stacked up, and AoE healing helps a lot. Also, you want to make sure that at all times each of the snakeheads is being attacked, because if you do not have somebody attacking each snakehead, then you'll basically wipe, because the boss will use a rage ability and it will kill you. So we had the main tank on the snakehead that the raid was killing, when the off tank just swapped over. There, the Rampage stopped. Each of these bosses also has their own special abilities when you fight them. I'll go over green, since green is right here. This green boss has a rot armor ability, and what she does, or what the boss does, is breathes gas in like a conal effect on players in front of her, and players hit by this will take 130k damage, and this puts a debuff on them called rot armor that increases damage taken by 10% for 45 seconds, and it stacks. So it may be a good idea for your tank to stand at kind of one end, and then the players stand behind the boss, so that you can avoid the breath as much as possible. However, if you kill the heads fast, then those stacks will wear off. Alright, this is the flaming head. It has a similar ability where it breathes a conal effect in front of players, damaging them, and it puts Ignite Flesh on players. This Ignite Flesh does 30,000 damage every second for 45 seconds, and it also stacks. So it's similar to the first one, but this one does damage. And what you just saw there was a acid rain attack. So the bosses in the background that you can see, they get a new ability when they are And that ability you just saw was Acid Rain done by the Venomous Head. So when the Venomous Head is in the background, it will shoot an Acid Rain ball at a random player and will inflict 400k damage to all players upon impact. The farther you are away from the impact, the less damage it does. We were stacked, however, so we were able to just heal through it, but if you can't heal through it, then you want to definitely run away from that spot on the floor. The Flaming Head in the background has an ability called Cinders. Now, if you can see it, there is a large flaming ball in the middle of the raid that is burning everybody. This is because a terrible hunter didn't move and the cinders exploded in the middle of the raid. There you can kind of see one on the far side of the screen. How this works is when a flaming head is in the background or the concealed fog, the flaming head will put a cinders debuff on a player. This player wants to immediately run away from the raid, preferably in the back of the room, and then needs to be dispelled by somebody. And once they're dispelled, they will leave a flaming circle on the ground, which does a lot of damage to players. You can see one kind of right in front of me to the right. That player did a good job. It's just out of the way from the raid and nobody steps in it. So you gotta really be careful with the cinders because it can wipe the raid. If you do get cinders, remember to just run outside of the raid, preferably farther back, and then get dispelled by a healer. Now I'll go ahead and talk about the Frozen Head. Frozen Head has a Arctic Freeze ability that it does on players in front of her, which in this fight is always the off tank. What it does is it does a breath just like all the other ones, does damage to the player in front of them, and it puts a debuff on a player called Arctic Freeze. Now when this debuff gets up to 5 stacks, that player is stunned for 20 seconds. So what you want to do is possibly switch your main tank and off tank in the middle of the fight to deal with that, unless your off tank feels good enough that they can handle the 20-second stun, but that's a pretty long stun. So you want to possibly switch when that gets to 4 stacks. There you can see a person with cinders. Did a good job running away. And you only get cinders when there is a red snakehead in the background. And what you can do with those flaming circles, but we never did in this fight because we never killed the frozen head, is when a frozen head, or the blue snake, is in the background, they'll do a torrent of ice ability, which will be like an ice beam that follows around a random player. And that random player wants to take that ice beam into a flame circle. But we didn't need to do that, and luckily we were able to kill the boss, so good luck with your fight.